Thank you all for joining once again. So today the topic is the significance of Diwali. So the term Diwali is actually a corruption. So the actual term which is Sanskrit term is Deepavali, and it comes from the declination which says Deepa and Avali. So Deepa is light and Avali is a row of lights. So Deepavali is festival of lights. So first we'll begin with the question. So what is a festival? So if anybody wants to pitch in, what do you think is a festival?
Celebration.
Celebration.
Occasion.
It's an occasion.
Remembrance.
Remembrance.
Glorification.
Thank you, Prabhu. So festival is an occasion, as Prabhuji mentioned. So it's a festival occasion of joyousness and happiness. And typically it involves fun and frolic. You meet with family members, and that's what a typical festival is. And we have many mundane examples of what a festival is. So we have cricket festivals, like sporting festivals. We have Cricket World Cup going on. We have film festivals. We have different types of festivals. So the festival, the word in Sanskrit comes from the root called Utsava. So the Sanskrit word for festival is called Utsava. So it comes from Ut, which means removal, and Sava means material pangs. So it's removal of material pangs or material sufferings is called Utsav. So it's a time when people are relieved of their material sufferings. So that's the essence of what a festival is, and that is similar to how we use mundane festivals for, right? So we have, as I mentioned, sporting festival where we support different teams, and there are people who are fighting against each other for these teams and rooting for each other, and one team wins and one team loses, and there is thrill and everything, but eventually there is going to be suffering there because the expected thing didn't happen, or the enjoyment which they have is short-lived or illusory, and they come back the next year. That's why we have Super Bowl XV22, and it's going to go on forever. So it looks like. So that's the crux of how this material festival is. And in Germany there is a festival called Oktoberfest. So what people do is like they go into bars and they drink for the entire day, get fully sloshed up, and they try to forget everything. So that's the concept of festival. But the crux there is what happens is after a point the enjoyment ends, and it's very transitory and very illusory. So what is that which makes the festival long lasting, and what is that which makes the happiness more long lasting is that the festival has to be connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if we take the example of Diwali, there's always this pastime of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Lord Ram, which is associated with Diwali, which makes this event more joyous. And because of that connection is why the festival is more enjoyable. But without that, it becomes illusory and very transitory. So, we are going to discuss a couple of pastimes of the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I was looking at a couple of, so the Bhagavatam glorifies the pastimes, narrating the pastimes of the Supreme Lord and listening to the pastimes. The Bhagavatam glorifies it a lot. And there are multiple verses which does it. And I want to pick a verse from Gopi Gita, which says, Tava katamritam tapta jivanam kabibiriditam kalmashapaham shravanamangalam srimadatam bhuvi grinanti te bhurita jana. So gopis are praying to Supreme Personality of God and Krishna, and they are saying, Tava katamritam, your pastimes are so beautiful to hear. And tapta jivanam, they are the life and soul for people who are suffering. Tapta is one who is suffering. And kabibiriditam kalmashapaham. So even the learned people are saying that hearing the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to remove all inauspiciousness. And it says Shravana Mangalam Srimadatam. So hearing the Supreme Personality of Godhead's message is going to bring in, and it's going to broadcast auspiciousness to the entire world. And this is being done by Bhurida Jana, who are munificent, like sages like Sukadeva Goswami, like Srila Prabhupada. They spread the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead so that everybody will be able to relish this. So discussing the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate in the Bhakti Yoga path. And Krishna explains this himself in the Bhagavad Gita, how he says, Machitta Madgata Prana, Bodhayantascha Parasparam, Katayantascha Mam Nitya, Tushyanticha Ramanticha. So my devotees, they are whose mind is constantly absorbed in me, what they do is Tushyanticha Ramanticha. And what? They are constantly involved and relish in something, that something is katayantascha mam nityam. They're constantly involved in discussing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various pastimes. So that is the highest stage of bhakti. And so in that context, we might wonder, so why is hearing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord so important? And this is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada. This is a series of verses in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada quotes this in the purport of the 7th chapter, first verse of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And these are a series of verses which actually exemplify and say why hearing about the messages of Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate. So let me quote these verses and then we can discuss about why it is important. So you might know the first two verses here. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantasto hyavadrani vidunoti suhritsatam nashta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatir uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki तदारजोतमो भावस् कामलोभादयश्चये चेतयेते अनाविद्यं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसिद्धति एवं प्रसन्न मनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते चिद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिश्चिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे. So this is a series of verses in Bhagavatam, and it says, it starts with Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna. We start with hearing about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what it does is it breaks the knots in the heart and gives us this interest to hear more about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then what happens is Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we get more steady in hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead's glory, and we hear from a very learned spiritual master, and from him we learn about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And from there what happens is that we are engulfed in this mode of three modes of material nature, namely Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So from there, Tamas and Rajas is eliminated, and in our heart, the Kama and Lobha, which is the greed and then lust, is eliminated, and then we are situated in Suddha Sattva, which is in a platform of pure goodness. And in that mode, we are extremely happy, and we are able to perform this Bhakti Yoga even better. So when we do that, it is mentioned that eventually all the knots in the heart are removed, and one is able to achieve this place where he goes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So everything starts from hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in connecting with this topic here, the festivals, the allure of the festival comes from the fact that there is a pastime which is inherent and which drives these festivals. So when one connects with the festival, with these pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one is able to relish this festival, and one is able to get freedom from this material pangs, which is the objective of Utsava, which is the festival. So that's why we celebrate festivals in essence. And just taking one step into the topic today, which is the significance of Diwali or Deepavali. So the Deepavali is called the Festival of Lights, and as we know, it's not just one day of celebration. We get one day of holiday, but typically Diwali is actually a series of festivals leading into the main day, and also a couple of festivals after the Diwali day. So, so in the Vedic calendar, we have this concept of waxing and waning moon. Similarly, what we have, it's called Krishna Paksha and Shukla Paksha. So each of them have 15 tithis, and tithis are created by this movement of sun and moon. And when sun and moon are at a particular angle, it creates one tithi, and then it moves on to each tithi. There are 15 tithis in Krishna Paksha and 15 tithis in Shukla Paksha. So this Diwali happens in the Krishna Paksha in the month of Kartik, which is the most glorious month of Srimati Radharani, and it is happening in the Amavasa Tithi. That is the Tithi in which Diwali happens, and today we have Diwali, which is the Amavasya Tithi. But the Diwali festival itself begins, the entire series of events for Diwali begins in the 12th day, which is the Dwadashi Tithi, which is called Govatsa Dwadasi. So Govatsa Dwadasi is celebrated to honor the event which happened during the Samudra Manthan Leela. So typically in India, what people do is they worship cow and calf during this day, and it is because during the Samudra Manthan Leela, where the demons and the asuras, the demigods and the demons, they were churning the milk ocean, and they were wanting to get the nectar. So out of that, many things came out of the Samudra Manthan, and one of the things which came out was the Kamadhenu. And Kamadhenu is that wish-fulfilling cow. And this Kamadhenu came out of the Samudra Manthan Leela, and at that time when Kamadhenu came out, the demons and the demigods were so involved in getting the nectar that nobody bothered to take care of the Kamadhenu cow. So it so happened that the Kamadhenu was given to the Sapta Rishis, and it came to Vasishta Muni, and Vasishta Muni took care of Kamadhenu, and the cow was named Nandini, and so the day it's also called Nandini Vrata. And so it's mentioned that people generally worship cow and calf during this day, and cow is considered one of the mothers, so worshipping the cow is very auspicious. And in Vedic astrology, one common remedy for any practical problem due to different planetary conjunctions, it's said that when people worship the cow, everything, and serve the cow in a Goshala, every planetary problem is alleviated. So that's the glory of Govatsa Dwadasi. And the next day in the series of Diwali is called Dhanteras. And this again is actually a perversion of the actual word, which is actually called Dhanatrayodashi or Dhanvantri Trayodashi. So that's what is celebrated as Dhanteras. So that's the 13th day of the Krishna Paksha in the month of Kartik. And Dhanatrayodashi or Dhanvantri Trayodashi, the glory is in Dhanvantri Trayodashi, Lord Dhanvantri, who is actually the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he appeared. And he was the last of the what appeared during the Samudra Manthan Leela. He appeared with a pot and also a grantha or a book. And the pot was the pot filled with nectar or amrita, which the devas and the demigods and the asuras were after. And the grantha was the Ayurveda book. So Dhanvantri is considered the father of Ayurveda. And so it's mentioned that when Dhanvantri brought the nectar, both the demigods and demons wanted to fight, and they wanted to catch hold of the nectar first. And it's mentioned that the demons first caught hold of the nectar, but then there is the Leela of Krishna taking the form as Mohini Murti, and then bewildering the demons, and then stealing the pot of nectar and giving it to the demigods. So since Dhanvantri appeared on this day is called Dhanvantri Trayodashi. And so India, we celebrate this as National Ayurveda Day. The government has established this as National Ayurveda Day recently. And whenever you go to an Ayurvedic practitioner, you will see the photo of Dhanvantri with his grantha and having the Kalasha pot. And typically that's how they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the practitioners of Ayurveda. And Dhanvantri gave this tradition to Sushruta and Charaka, and still the practice of Ayurveda is very evident in India at least. And it's taking a lot of effect in the US and other places as well right now. So that's Dhanvantri Trayodashi. And another name for the Dhanteras is Dhanatrayodashi. This is because there is a history which says that Goddess Lakshmi also appeared during this day from the Samudra Manthan. So since Goddess Lakshmi is always attached to Supreme Personality of Godhead, it's mentioned that the moment she came out of the milk ocean, she went to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we know Goddess Lakshmi is the embodiment of Pada Sevana aspect of the Navavidha Bhakti, and she is always serving the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada used to say, and typically what people do during this day is do Lakshmi Puja on this day, where they worship Goddess Lakshmi. So Prabhupada used to say, worshipping Goddess Lakshmi alone is not recommended, because Goddess Lakshmi is always serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we should always worship Goddess Lakshmi along with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and always engage Lakshmi in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's the crux of why this was named Dhanatrayodashi. And there is also a tradition in some parts of India where Lord Yama is worshipped on this day. And he's also offered a deep dan during this day. And this comes from a story, and this is about a king called Hima. And this king used to rule in the eastern part of India. And he got married to a princess, and after marriage it was shown in his horoscope that the king is going to die in like 4 days, and he's going to get a snake bite similar to Parikshit Maharaj. So this queen now wanted to save the king. And she thought of an idea. What she did is like she collected all silver, gold ornaments from all over the country, and then she placed it in a room. It was extremely shiny, and she sat with the king underneath those pile of all these gold ornaments and silver ornaments, and she started narrating the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is mentioned that Yamaraj came on that day with his Yamapash to get this particular king. But Yamaraj eyes were so glad because of this shining ornaments placed in that room, and he could not see anything. But he was so captivated by the narration of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he sat there the entire night and heard about the Supreme Personality of Godhead's glories. And so he forgot why he came there to actually take the life of that king, and eventually the king was saved. So typically on this day, on the night, so people offer Deep Dan to Yamaraj as a respect to Yamaraj. So we as Vaishnavas, the Damodar month started, and for the entire month of Damodara we are going to offer Deep Dan. So we don't have to offer the Deep Dan to Yamaraj specifically, and it's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Yata Taror Mula Nishechanena Tutyantyat Kandaputopa Shakaha Pranapaharosya Yatendriyana Tateva Sarvaranam Achyuta Ijya. So just like how we water the root of the tree, every part of the tree gets satisfied. Similarly, when we feed the stomach, the entire body gets satisfied. Just like that, when we satisfy Achyuta, every part of the demigods and everybody gets satisfied because of that. So similarly, just by offering Deep Dan to Damodar after this class, singing Damodarashtakam, we will be able to satisfy Lord Yama also, which is an important thing which happened during this series of events during the Diwali time. So that's the Trayodashi day. And the Chaturdasi day, which is the 14th day, the lunar cycle of the Krishna Paksha, is called Naraka Chaturdasi. So this is the day when Lord Krishna killed Narakasura or Bhaumasura. So this is a glorious pastime which happened in Dwapara Yuga. So Narakasura was called Bhaumasura because he was born to Bhumi Devi and Varahadev. So Varahadev is none other than the incarnation of Supreme Personality of God himself. So when Varahadev went to save earth from when Hiranyaksha has hidden the earth from the ocean, during that time the contact between Varahadev and Bhumi Devi produced Bhaumadev. At that time when he was born, his name was Bhaumadev. But then he had this association with Banasura, who is an Asura, and because of this association he got corrupted and he became Bhaumasura. So this goes on to say, even the son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of bad association, can become an Asura. So it goes on to say the importance of association which one should have. So Bhaumasura, he was very Asuric, and he was hell-bent on getting this boon from Brahmadev. So he started doing meditation, and he got this boon from Brahma that he cannot be killed without the permission of his mother. So he became so puffed up that no mother will actually kill him. So he became so puffed up, he wanted to wreak havoc everywhere, and he wanted to conquer all the three worlds. So it is mentioned that Narakasura, the name Narakasura was given to him because he was creating hell on earth. So that's why he was called Narakasura. And then, so he went to the heavenly realm and he captured all the demigods, and then he humiliated Indra. Then he went to the Varuna Loka, he got Varuna's umbrella, and then he went to Swarga Loka, he stole Mother Aditi's earrings, and he captured all these demigods and put them in prison. So, and Narakasura came to the earth and he set his capital city as Pragjyotishpur. So this place, according to an article in Sampradaya Sun, says that this place is in Assam, which is current in India, in the eastern part of India, and this place is actually Guwahati. So that was the place of capital for Narakasura. And so Narakasura was wreaking havoc in the entire world, and so there Indra came to Lord Krishna to Dwaraka and he requested Krishna to kill Narakasura. And at the same time, Aditi, who is the mother of the demigods, she came to Satyabhama Devi, who is the wife of Lord Krishna, and she requested that Krishna kill Narakasura and redeem the heaven to its glory. So, and Krishna knew that Narakasura has this boon that he cannot be killed anyone besides without having permission of Mother Earth. But Krishna also knew that Satyabhama is none other than the incarnation or the power for the goddess Earth. So what Krishna did is Krishna took Satyabhama Devi and also he sat on the back of Garuda and he went to Pragjyotishpur to actually destroy Narakasura. So he came to Pragjyotishpur, and it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srimad Sukadev Goswami explains this in beautiful detail. So he came to Pragyotishpur, and this city is explained that it was fortified in all four directions and nobody could enter this city. And it is mentioned that the first fortification was in the form of a water canal, and then there were very ferocious animals or aquatic animals in that water canal. And then there is another layer of gaseous substance which actually protected this entire city, which is called Anila. And then there is another layer of barbed wire which is completely electrified. And this palace of Narakasura is guarded by his general called Mura. So he's also a demon. And Mura was extremely powerful, and under his control this Pragyotishpur was completely fortified. So Krishna came there, and with the Sudarshan Chakra, with one whirl of a Sudarshan Chakra, he just completely shattered all these different fortifications, and he was about to enter into the city of Pragyotishpur. And then Krishna came to know that Mura is going to come. So Mura, the general of Narakasura, came to know that Krishna has destroyed these fortifications, and he became extremely ferocious, and he started coming to attack Krishna. So he came with, so Mura is explained that he had 5 heads and he was very ferocious, and he came with his trident, and he was so focused on hitting Krishna, but Krishna with his arrows, he just burst open the trident, and the trident fell out of the hands of Mura demon. And then he took his club and he wanted to hit Krishna and Garuda with it, and Krishna took his club and then completely shattered the club of Mura, and he became without any weapon. And Mura demon, it's mentioned that he resorted to his own hands, and he wanted to kill Krishna with his own hands. So he started running towards Krishna, and Krishna with his Sudarshan Chakra cut all his 5 heads, and Mura was completely killed. So because of this, Krishna got this name Murari. So there is a beautiful bhajan, Vaishnava bhajan, where it's mentioned, Mama mana mandire rahanishidi Krishna Murari, Sri Krishna Murari. So Krishna called Murari, the Vaishnava bhajan requests Krishna to come and sit in our hearts. So that's how Krishna got his name, because he killed Mura, who is a demon, and Ari is a person who is killing Mura, so it's called Murari. And once Mura was killed, Mura had 7 sons who all came so ferociously, and they wanted to attack Krishna, and they sent so many astras and everything to Krishna, and Krishna, just like one would swat a fly, he killed all of them in one go. And Bhaumasura, Narakasura, came to know about this, and he became extremely maddened, and he sent about 1,000 elephants who were completely maddened and intoxicated, and all this the elephants could do was just stamp over whoever was in front of them. So along with these elephants, Bhaumasura was also running, and he was running towards Krishna to kill Krishna. And Bhaumasura launched a weapon called Shatagni. It's called Shatagni because it can kill thousands of soldiers in one go. So it's called Shatagni. But that astra also was rendered imperfect by Krishna by just shooting an arrow. And then the Garuda was helping Krishna in killing all these armies of Bhaumasura. And Garuda with a sharp claws was going and scratching on the heads of the maddened elephants. And these elephants got even mad, and they just dispersed and went away. So Bhaumasura was led alone, and he was there in the battlefield with no help, none of his army present, and he wanted to kill Krishna. And then he was ready with his Shakti Ayuda, and he was about to throw it on Krishna. And then Krishna looked at Satyabhama, and he asked Satyabhama, what should I do now? Should I kill Bhaumasura, Narakasura, or are you going to let me kill myself? And then Satyabhama, who is just the incarnation of the goddess of earth, she said, okay, kill Narakasura now. And Krishna evoked his Sudarshan Chakra, and he killed Narakasura, and his head was chopped off. And at that moment, all the demigods, celestial beings from all 3 worlds, they came down, they were so relieved, and they sang glories in praise of Lord Krishna, and there was jubilation all over. And Krishna then went to the palace of Narakasura. Narakasura has abducted close to 16,100 wives of different kings, and he had placed them in his palace. And all these princesses, they saw Krishna, and their hearts melted and they wanted to marry Krishna. So Krishna, as a super soul in everybody's heart, knew everybody's desire, and he said that he is going to satisfy the desire of marrying them. So that is the story of how Krishna got 16,108 wives. So Krishna is going to marry these 16,100 wives, but before that Krishna has to tie some loose ends. So he has to go and give all these things which Narakasura stole from the heavenly realm to the heavenly planet. So Krishna, along with Satyabhama and Garuda, they went to the Amaravati city, which is the capital city of Indra. So they went to Amaravati, and Indra was overjoyed to see Krishna having defeated Narakasura. And then Krishna returned the umbrella of Varuna. He gave back Aditi's earrings, and Indra so happily and he was so satisfied with Krishna's killing of Narakasura. And Krishna, while he was coming back along with Satyabhama Devi, they saw a beautiful forest in the heaven, which was full of beautiful trees and flowers. And there Satyabhama Devi saw this tree called Parijata tree. And there is a backstory to this Parijata tree. So previously, when Narada Muni came to Krishna's court, he had brought this Parijata flower from the heavenly realm. He brought one Parijata flower and he had given it to Rukmini Devi, who is the chief wife of Krishna. So Satyabhama Devi saw this and she grew very angry that she didn't get it. And she was, so that Krishna could sense this acrimony in this courtyard. And he said that, why do you need one flower? Whenever I go to the heavenly realm, I'll bring you the entire tree. So Satyabhama Devi remembered this and she uprooted the entire Parijata tree and placed it on the back of Yamuna, Garuda. And then they were about to leave from the heavenly realm to the earth. So it's mentioned that Indra got to know about this and Indra grew very angry. The same Indra who propitiated Krishna and begged him to come and kill Narakasura, and the same Indra who thanked Krishna for having killed Narakasura, he became angry when Krishna took something which was from his heavenly planet. So this goes on to say that the mentality of the material mind, that even though we are devotees, we don't effectively transcend all the things like Kama, Krodha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya and everything. So it takes time for us to gradually evolve. So even for the demigods, like Indra, he was captivated by that greed, where he wanted to keep the Parijata tree in heaven and not take it to the earthly realm. So he started fighting with Krishna, and it's mentioned that Krishna defeated Indra in an instant, and along with Satyabhama Devi came back to the material world and came back to Dwaraka, and there was an elaborate ceremony of Krishna marrying 16,100 wives. And it's mentioned that Krishna, since Krishna is proving that he is the Bhagavan here, Krishna took all those 16,100 wives and then he expanded into all 16,100 forms. He created 16,100 palaces, and Krishna was physically present in each of these palaces. And this shows how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is one story why we celebrate Diwali on this day of Naraka Chaturdasi, because we want to commemorate the fact that Krishna killed the Naraka demon. And that's the reason why it's celebrated as Choti Diwali in northern part of India. And in southern part of India, this is the day where we celebrate Diwali. And the next day, which is the Amavasya day, which is the 15th lunar Tithi in the Krishna Paksha, is called Diwali, which is today. And so we saw one pastime from the Dwapara Yuga. So now we will see one pastime from Treta Yuga involving Lord Ram. And so this day is actually called Deepavali because this is the day when Lord Ram was welcomed into Ayodhya. Lord Ram, after his Vanavasa of 14 years, came back to Ayodhya on this day. So after killing Ravana in Lanka, it is mentioned that Lord Ram was contemplating as to what to do next and how to reach Ayodhya. And he was about to coronate Vibhishan as the king of Lanka. And it is mentioned that Lord Ram did not personally coronate Vibhishan, but he asked Lakshman to coronate Vibhishan because Lord Ram, because of his Vanavas, he cannot enter a city. So even previously when he coronated Sugriva, he didn't coronate himself, but rather asked Lakshman to coronate Sugriva. Similarly here, he asked Lakshman to coronate Vibhishan as the king of Lanka. So once Lakshman became the king of Lanka, he wanted to give a royal bath and a royal meal to Lord Ram. So he requested Lord Ram that he give a royal reception to Lord Ram in Lanka. But Lord Ram rejected, saying that how can I take this royal reception? Because my brother Bharat, he is actually suffering in the forest. He is taken to this woe of using tree barks as clothes, and he is eating just barley cooked in cow urine, and he is leading such a hermetic life, and he is ruling the kingdom on his behalf. So I cannot accept this. So if you want to feed, then you will have to feed this Vanara Sena who served us in this battle in Lanka. So all this Vanara Sena who was present in Lanka got this opportunity to feast at the behalf of Vibhishan. So now Lord Ram requested Vibhishan that they go to Ayodhya as fast as possible. So Vibhishan arranged this Pushpaka Vimana. This is totally different than the A380 which we have right now, where we have a limited seating and we have to pay, and then it takes a little time to get there, and there's a pilot and everything. But Pushpaka Vimana is controlled by the person's mind, and it can expand and it can fit as many people as possible. So Pushpaka Vimana was brought in, and this actually belonged to Kubera. And Ravana had stolen it from Kubera, and now since Vibhishan has become the king of Lanka, he had access to the Pushpaka Vimana, and he offered it to Lord Ram to go to Ayodhya. So Lord Ram, along with Sita Devi, Lakshman, Hanuman, were about to enter into the Pushpaka Vimana and go to Ayodhya. At that time, Indra, the same Indra, had come, and he said to Lord Ram that this is a very auspicious moment, so I want to give you a benediction. Please ask me whatever benediction you want. So Lord Ram said, the benediction I want is that bring all the Vanara soldiers who are dead, bring them all to life. So Indra said, it's very difficult for me to do, but I'll still do it, and he resurrected all these Vanarasena to life. And all of the Vanarasena came alive, and they also wanted to go along with Ram and Sita and Lakshman to Ayodhya. So the Pushpaka Vimana expanded, and everybody entered into the Pushpaka Vimana, and they set their path to Ayodhya. So on the way back to Ayodhya, it is mentioned that Lord Ram, while crossing the ocean, is explaining to Sita all these events in the negative chronological order, like whatever happened in Ramayana, is narrating the entire events to Sita Devi. So he's starting with how Hanuman came through Lanka, he defeated Lankini and came to Lanka, and then he shows the place where Hanuman leapt from the ocean into to Lanka, and the place where Sampati met Hanuman, and they gave the direction to go to Lanka. And they go to Panchavati, they see the place where Lakshman actually cut the nose of Surpanaka, which is the starting point of Ramayana. And all these things Lord Ram is explaining. And they took a small pause at the ashram of Bharadwaja Muni. And it's mentioned that Bharadwaja Muni was able to see that Lord Ram is going to come and visit him even earlier. So he was prepared for this. And so Lord Ram went to the ashram of Bharadwaja Muni. He narrated the entire events to Bharadwaja Muni, and it's mentioned that Bharadwaja Muni even recollected Lord Ram as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So at the ashram, Lord Ram called Hanuman, who is considered as the Ramadut. So Tulasidas says, Ramaduta Tulita Baladama. So Hanuman is called Ramaduta because he is the apt messenger for Lord Ram. So anytime Lord Ram wanted to send a messenger, he called Hanuman. So when he wanted to send something to find Sita Devi, he sent Hanuman. And now Lord Ram at the ashram of Bharadwaja Muni, he had a request to Hanuman. He had two requests to Hanuman. One is to go let Guha, the boatman, know that he had come, and also to let Bharata know that Lord Ram has come back to Ayodhya. And Lord Ram told Hanuman that when you go and meet Bharata, make sure that you observe what Bharata's facial expression is. Even he has ruled the kingdom on my behalf for 14 years. Even if he has the slightest tinge to rule over the kingdom, then let him rule over, and I won't go to Ayodhya. So Lord Ram picked Hanuman, and Hanuman leapt from Bharadwaja Muni's ashram. In one go, he went to Nandigram, where Bharata was in exile. And he was able to see, and even though it was very difficult to spot the Bharata from a distance, because all the ministers were all wearing barks, and there was no easy way to discern, and everybody had matted locks. very difficult to discern who is Bharata. But Hanuman knew right away who Bharata was because he was internally chanting Ram, 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 Ram. So Hanuman saw Bharata, he went to Bharata and he told Bharata that I brought a very wonderful news for you that your brother Lord Ram is going to come back to Ayodhya. And after saying that, Hanuman was just looking at the countenance of Bharata to see what his reaction was. Immediately, Bharata, it's mentioned that Bharata completely swooned. He was completely fainted. And when he woke up, his face shone like a million lights. And he was so happy that Lord Ram is back to Ayodhya. And so he called all his servants and he said, bring everything from Ayodhya to Nandagram so that Lord Ram is going to be welcomed here. And then we will take in a procession to Ayodhya to welcome Lord Ram. And so he was so happy, and Hanuman was not able to spot even a slightest of any interest which Bharata had to rule the kingdom of Ayodhya. So Hanuman conveyed this message to Lord Ram. He went back to Lord Ram, and along with all his Vanara Sena, climbed onto the Pushpaka Vimana, and they set their journey towards Ayodhya. So it's mentioned that after Hanuman left, Bharata got cold feet. He thought that this was a monkey. What if he's playing pranks with me? So he was really suspicious that if Lord Ram is going to come, and he was very anxious. And Hanuman came again and he assured Bharata that Lord Ram is coming. And as they saw in the sky, the Pushpaka Vimana descended into Ayodhya, and all the queens of Ayodhya like Kausalya, Kaikeyi, Sumatra, everybody were present and they were ready to welcome Lord Ram. And Lord Ram, along with Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, everybody came and descended from the Pushpaka Vimana, and to welcome Lord Ram on this day of Amavasya. All the denizens of Ayodhya had lit lamps on their houses, and the entire place of Ayodhya was like shining with all these different lamps. So that's why this day is called Deepavali. And so Lord Ram came to Ayodhya. He descended from the Pushpaka Vimana. He paid his obeisances to the queens, and then he embraced Bharata, he embraced Shatrughna, and then Lakshman. Everybody embraced each other, and there was so much of love and affection in the entire assembly of Lord Ram. And all the denizens of Ayodhya started chanting Jai Shri Ram, Jai Lakshman, Jai Sita Devi, Jai Hanuman. And everybody was so happy. And it's mentioned that Indra came from the heavenly realm. He gifted a necklace made up of celestial pearls to Lord Ram. And Lord Ram took it and then placed it again on Sita Devi. And Sita Devi placed the same necklace on Hanuman. And just like that, there was this joyous occasion all over Ayodhya. And all the denizens of Ayodhya were so happy that Lord Ram is back. And they decorated their homes, and the entire palace and everything was full of lights. And hence this Diwali is called the Festival of Lights. And that's the crux of Diwali and the pastime narration which depicts this whole Diwali. So tomorrow is called, so this Diwali day is very auspicious, that there are multiple other events which happened during this day as well. And one of the important events which happened was the Damodar pastime, where we'll sing the Damodar Ashtakam. The entire pastime of Mother Yashoda tying Lord Damodar to the grinding mortar happened on this day. And Pandavas coming back to the exile, that also happened on this day. And also it's mentioned that Bali Maharaj surrendering to Vamana Dev happened on this day. And King Vikramaditya being crowned as the king of the entire Bharatavarsha happened on this day. So this is a very auspicious day, the day of Deepavali. And the next day is called Govardhan Puja or Go Puja. And so this day is when Lord Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill and actually quashed the pride of Indra. And by lifting the Govardhan hill, he got the name as Govardhan Giridhari. And that's the day of Govardhan Puja. That's tomorrow. So we're going to have a lot of festivities tomorrow. So please join us tomorrow. And the day after Govardhan Puja is called Bhratridviya. So there are multiple events explaining what Bhratridviya is. But one significant event is Lord Krishna, after having killed Narakasura, he went back to Dwaraka, and Subhadra Devi welcomed him with tilak, and there was whole feast in that day. So to commemorate that day, it's called Bhratridviya. So it's similar to Raksha Bandhan, where the brothers and sisters, they exchange gifts, and it's a very auspicious day that way as well. So this is all the series of days we had in in this Diwali festival. So I wanted to take a moment to just summarize what we saw. So we saw the significance of Deepavali, we saw what Deepavali means, and we saw two events, two pastimes, one from the Dwapara Yuga and one from the Treta Yuga involving Lord Ramachandra. And we saw how even tomorrow and day after this, the entire Deepavali Mahotsav continues. And tomorrow is going to be Govardhan Puja, where Lord Krishna actually lifted the Govardhan hill. So with that, I would like to end my lecture here. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. Hare Krishna.